I certainly remember this, the excitement of waking up in the early hours of the morning to go and find a newspaper somewhere to check if you and your loved ones and your friends had passed matric. Remember that? Maybe I'm talking to a slightly older audience. Well, as of this year, there won't be that rush, I'm afraid. Media outlets are no longer allowed to publish matric results. Let's speak to someone who knows all about this and can give us some information. It's Sizwe Snail kaMtuze from Snail Attorneys Incorporated, also a professor at Nelson Mandela Bay University. Mr. kaMtuze, morning to you. All the best for the year. Do you agree with this move or don't you agree with this move while you tell me why this is happening? Good morning.
Good morning, Gareth, and good morning to everyone who's viewing this morning. I think it's a very progressive step that has been taken of not publishing personal information of students. We've seen in other jurisdictions as well, where they had previously published the results of students in newspapers. When the data protection laws came, which we also now have in South Africa, the PAPIA, they started not publishing results anymore publicly. I think that is in line with the Protection of Personal Information Act, and it is there to protect the data subject or the students from having their academic records disclosed to the whole world.
And I suppose there's, apart from the legal aspect of this, Sizwe, I don't know if you have kids, I don't as well, but I always remember covering stories, not just about the excitement, that's always the one angle of that story when you get the youngsters on camera who've got 8 distinctions, 10 distinctions, but there's also the other side of that coin, isn't there? There are students who are now getting their results publicly who could have failed for some reason as well.
Yes, Gareth. I mean, I remember 21 years ago, now your viewers know how old I am. My family got my results in the Eastern Cape and the Free State before I did. And it was so interesting because I'd gotten one particular distinction and the whole family already knew that I had gotten it before I had gotten it. So I fully agree with you. I think there needs to be some form of privacy in terms of, handling of academic results. I think publicly having these results published may lead to some students doing things in terms of, if they're not satisfied with their marks or they may be teased by others. I think this is particularly done to protect privacy and the academic integrity of either those students who've done very well or those who have not actually done very well.
There were questions being asked, though, Sizwe. Allow me to just bring in another side of what I've seen people saying on social media, for example, as well, that really all you're getting, and I must be honest, I haven't looked at a matric results newspaper in years, it's the student number and the ID number and then obviously the results, if I understand it correctly. Obviously, under the PAPIA Act, it's there to protect the identity as well. What could a criminal or someone with, untoward intentions have done with that information? Why does this fall under the PAPIA Act, do you think?
You must remember that personal information is defined as a personal information that links an individual, or identifies an individual. So, I mean, now if you have your ID number out there, right, your ID number obviously can be linked back to you. It includes your birthday, it includes other information, your race and your nationality. And the fact that you're publishing this ID number also means that other people may use it for untoward, purposes, illegal purposes, and use your ID number for illicit purposes. So the risks are there, either of having the person identified, as much as one may say it's only the ID number, and the risk of the ID number being used for illicit purposes by cyber criminals.
Obviously, there's going to be talk now of how to make this easier for pupils to get their marks. The call right now is for pupils to go back to their school where they wrote their matric exams last year. But could you see maybe further down the road a way of an electronic version of this being made available to pupils, whether it's an SMS or getting results via email? Because can that change how the PAPIA Act could handle this sort of information?
Yes, I think providing the results via SMS or via an email that you have provided to the department, at least that assures that only you will get those results, that not the whole world will be able to get those results. We've actually seen, I was discussing this with some colleagues yesterday, that, in other jurisdictions, they actually give you the option of having it published publicly, or if you don't want it. So, there's a choice matter here. But I think, going the electronic route, since we are in the electronic age, I think would be the most prudent way to go about it.
Well, let's hopefully see if we head that direction, if not for this year, perhaps for next year. But it's a lovely point you make. Sizwe, thank you very much for your time this morning. Snail Attorneys Director, Sizwe Snail, kaMtuze, also Professor, I should say, Professor Nelson from Nelson Mandela Bay University, Professor kaMtuze, joining us this morning.